All right, welcome everyone. This is week 2 of the CMA and TCA-A-Day challenge, and I am super excited to be back. For those of you who missed it, last week I launched this off with Jimmy Burgess, Mr. CMA-A-Day. That's what I'm gonna start calling him. And he did a fabulous job, and that should be by the end of the day today up on our YouTube channel finally, so you guys can watch that if you missed it. And then he did provide me with a few examples of a CMA. So we're going to watch those today and kind of go through those, kind of give some feedback and some pointers on it. And then we are going to kind of really just kind of get some status and get going from here and kind of lay out how I think the next however many weeks it is of the challenge, 10 more weeks after this, and how we're going to get that rolling. So real quick, if you guys could do me a favor, and could you tell me in the chat, are you loan officers? Because I know some of you, or are you any of you real estate agents? What do we have as our group here today? I'm going to be talking to all of you. So remember, the whole goal here is if you're a real estate agent is to do an unsolicited CMA a day, hopefully a target of 60, whatever number you chose between now and Christmas. Or if you're a loan officer, to do a total cost analysis a day, a TCA a day, hopefully at least 60 between now and Christmas. And also if you're loan officers, to learn about the CMA a day piece so that you can get that going for your real estate agents. All right, so we got a mixture of both. So that is awesome. Nice job, everyone. And so here is, so my thought of the day is, again, you guys can choose if you want to throw it in the chat or not. You can say, hey, yes, I'm on track. I'm doing well. I'm going to start this week with my post. I'm just going to do one post a week to start from an accountability perspective. Did you complete a TCA or a CMA a day this week? And then really kind of use this as a forum. I'm going to mainly have guests most week, probably every 3 or 4 weeks. I'll do one of these that I'm doing now, where it's just me here live answering questions and kind of giving advice and tips on it. But my goal is going to be to bring in people targeting 3/4 real estate agents, 1/4 loan officers. I've got Glenn Bill lined up. Should be on next week, worst case the following week. He's an amazing leader out of Indiana. A lot of you probably have seen him if you're in the mortgage coach community. He does great stuff. And he's going to talk about, I wrote it down because it was a really cool name. He has a thing that he calls the source of sales, but he has, it's called attitude-based selling. And he's going to talk about weaving in CMAs and into how he does that piece. And so Glenn is a fireball of energy. So I will have to up my energy game before I jump on there with him. And so my goal today was really just to kind of go back through and revisit my top takeaways from what Jimmy Burgess said, to kind of hopefully overcome some of the challenges I know that a lot of you are feeling as you're, kind of 1.5 weeks into this. By the way, I did this on Wednesday because some of you know who follow me online. I've been out of town. I was in New York the past few days, and I did not want to interrupt my family's vacation for me to jump on this call and be distracted. So most of them should be on Monday afternoons going forward. Again, this one, I appreciate you guys jumping in the middle of the week to jump on. And then, again, I just want to kind of overcome that negative mind that I think a lot of people are already having at this point. And then, like I said, lastly, I'll show the Jimmy Burgess videos because I think that'll be really helpful. And then I also will get those loaded into the Win by Noon User Mastermind group for you realtors. You can study them and figure out how you're going to not reinvent the wheel, just do what Jimmy did in your own special way. And for you loan officers, then you'll have access to it so that you can share it with your real estate agents to help them grow. And so really for me with Jimmy, my biggest takeaway was the fact that he just made it a non-negotiable. And I tend to find that most people get that, well, this would be good for my business, but don't really take it to heart that it's got to be every day. Or, Jimmy talked about that he did do some batching, but he still sent them out every day, which I thought was kind of interesting. He didn't say it on that call, but I've heard him interviewed before where he might do 2 or 3 in a day, but then he would still send them out later in the week to be in that habit of making sure that he emailed it out, every day. And so I think that that's the biggest piece of it, right? You have to schedule it to get it done. The first couple are going to be a little wonky, and then they'll get less wonky as you start doing them. And then he found that the consistency for him is what created the habit. And once you create the habit, then the results happen. There was a couple of interesting things that we kind of brought out from him at the very end. One was, since he used BombBomb, and again, I don't care what video source you use, BombBomb was cool because he could see who opened it. Not only could he see who opened it that day that he sent it or that week that he sent it, but he could see who a year later opened it and was looking back at it. Because if you remember, the title of his was home valuation and then your address, right? So he was training people in his video. By the way, if you ever forget what this is, go back to the video. So we'll watch him in a minute, you'll see it. But he did a really good job on the scripting. And again, where I talk to people afterwards, they're like, oh, he makes it sound so easy. Oh yeah, he did it a bunch. Well, he did do it a bunch. That's why it sounds easy, right? The practice makes perfect. Actually, no, I mean, don't say that word perfect. I don't like the word perfect. Practice makes it better. Let's just say that. Because again, no one's perfect. No one does it. No one does it, all right every time. And he actually said, well, part of what made people like it was the fact they knew I recorded for them and it wasn't perfect. And, when I hear some people say, well, it took me 2 hours to do it, then that tells me that they're either really unfamiliar with the software or what they really all admitted was they were doing multiple takes. And, I would say one take, get it done. One is good enough. Done is better than perfect. And get it shipped off. But the interesting part about when his bomb was he was only calling people if they looked at it at least 3 times, meaning they watched it, then they had their spouse watch it or send it off to someone else to watch. And I would probably challenge you on that, is that why not just call everybody once you send it to them, call them that afternoon or the next day. And I would just say, hey, I wanted to make sure you got the email that I sent you. Now, if you're using something that tells you whether they opened it, so this is for your loan officers who are doing TCAs, that you're getting notified if it opens it, the same thing. You can miraculously say, hey, I wanted to make sure you got it. And again, you already know it. Or, hang on one sec, people. My back battery is low, which tells me that is my, hang on. Don't go anywhere. My wife switched my cord on me and then she didn't realize she plugged it in. That's why my light's not working to one that does not work. Okay, I'm back and I should have power. No, I don't. Now I have power. All right, well, that makes sense now why my light stopped working too. Okay, well, that's okay. We will switch it up and charge it. My wife did not like that my extension cord went across her office, but that's all right. All right, pretend that didn't happen. I'm not going to edit it out, just like I wouldn't edit it out if I did it on another video. So what I was saying was, thankfully I can remember what I was saying, is you're going to want to go back and you're going to make the phone call. And I would do the script either way. You could say, hey, I saw that you opened my video, but then that's a little bit creepy. I like to take the flip side and say, hey, I just wanted to make sure you saw the email that I sent. And if they opened it, they'll say, oh yeah, it was amazing. Or, oh, and then all you say is, what did you think? And then shut up, right? We're in sales. We like to fill the empty gap of the space, but let them talk. What did you think? And then they're going to tell you, and let them talk. Don't interrupt them, right? Let them get all their stuff. Awesome. And then in theory, what you're going to say after that is going to be based off of what they just said, what their questions were, what their thoughts were. I'm so glad you liked it, blank, right? Or you can say, was there anything that surprised you? I mean, think about the questions that you can ask them that might pull out from them some other backstory that they might not, have at the front of their mind. I think that that's where I find that most people make the assumption, because ultimately what you're trying to figure out, whether it's a TCA or a CMA, is, are they thinking about moving anytime soon? Are they thinking that there's an opportunity for them to refinance? Are they going to buy or sell or invest, so that you can figure out how to do that without asking the cheesy referral question? And then if you quiet down and listen to the answer, I tend to find that they end up laying out what that plan is, because you don't want to make the assumption, hey, are you still thinking this is your long-term house, right? I think there's just other ways that you can approach the question without having to just come across as straight sales, because really the whole point of this is unsolicited. You're trying to do this review. And what I tend to find is that, as a real estate agent, we want them to tell us, yep, I'm going to sell my house, but that's okay. Even if they're not going to sell their house, you added a value, you added value. You have identified yourself as the market expert that you're willing to continue to pour into them. And at the end, then you've got the opportunity. I'll let Jimmy play his script you'll see how he ends it, but you can determine what you're comfortable with there. Awesome. Hey, if you know anyone who would benefit from this, I'm looking to add people, especially you newer realtors who don't have as big of a database. Awesome. My goal right now is to get better at this. Do you have any suggestions? Awesome. Well, I would love it. Do you have anyone that you know that might benefit from this? Because I'm looking for a couple more people so I can get some more practice. Would you mind making an introduction? Same thing if you're doing an annual mortgage review, right? I mean, again, as we come out of the refinance boom that we've been in and you've refinanced all your clients anyway, hey, just want to give you a quick update. Look, you're at 2.5%. You'll notice now rates are over 3. There's no need for you to refinance unless for some reason you're thinking about shortening your term, or if you have amassed any higher interest debt that may be worth consolidating with the new equity that you have. So I put together that scenario for you. It's over here. Same thing. Oh, by the way, do you know anyone else who might benefit from this? I'm trying to get better at it. My goal is to do 60 of these before the end of the year, whatever your script is going to be, but don't be afraid to ask that. Now, the other challenge is, like I said, is that people have this negative voice, especially those of you who are now a week into it and haven't done your CMAs, your TCAs. You have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is say, you know what, I'm just going to do 55. You could. I wouldn't judge you, but I would say, hey, do you really only want to do 55? Or are you willing to do 60? Now, if you have like 3 weeks of vacation off, then again, cut off that time. I picked 60 because I cut off Thanksgiving and I cut off between Christmas and New Year's. I think 60 is a great number. Plus, it sounded kind of cool. But I would encourage you to say, okay, well, maybe I'm 3 behind. Let me make up 3 this week. Maybe you're 5 behind and you need to make up all 5 this week. But that would be my encouragement. And I just think it's a matter of get it scheduled, right? Figure it out. Number 1 is who's it going to be? Again, don't overthink it. Just start going through your CRM. Maybe start at A's and just pick all the people with an A last name and start with them, right? Keep it easy. And then B, what to do. I'll show you the videos here in just a sec so that you guys can jump in on Jimmy's videos. And I would just literally knock his off, right? With whatever technology you have. And then 3, figure out when you're going to do it. And I would, of course, suggest doing it first thing in the morning. I think that if you can do it before you get carried away, distracted by everything else, you're going to be way, way better off. So let me find these videos. This is going to be really cool if I can pull it off, because I didn't practice this ahead of time, which again, if I was really smart, that's what I would have done. So let me pull up these videos. Let me figure out where it's going to open up if I click on the button. Okay, it's going to open up here in my QuickTime player. That's what I was thinking. So now I'm going to go to share my screen. And then I'm going to go here to share QuickTime, and I'm going to share the sound, and I'm going to optimize it for video. So that's one thing if you guys are doing any kind of Zoom, when you go to click share screen, right, it brings up a screen that shows you what you can click on. And then in the bottom left, there's a button that says share sound and optimize for video. And so what that'll do is it'll make it so I'm not anything important during this. So I'm going to share that. Now you see it. Although that's kind of weird. Let me hang on 1 second. Let's go to file. I can't see what else we see, but I got way too much stuff going on, but I think it looks like we're doing this just fabulous. So here we go, people. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to play this for you guys. Here we go.
Hey, Carrie, it's Jimmy Burgess with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services down at the beach. Just want to check in with you guys. I hope you had a great summer. Been about 6 months since I let you know kind of an update on where we are and where your condo's value is. So just want to give you a quick brief update on kind of where we are with everything, what's happening right now, and get you a little better deal. I know you know this, but I just kind of want to go through it as you know, it just goes, this is adagio here. Building A, building B, building C, D, E, F, obviously where yours is, and G. So let me kind of go through some of these things, some of these sales that have happened recently that have come on the market, and the lack of activity actually in condos like yours. Now we know, so what I did is I pulled up all the sales for the last couple of years to get us a basis on where those sales have been. And in reality, we have not had a single place. We've only had one place sell in the last year, and it was the one that sold for $720, and that sold in, I believe it was September. Let me look this up real quick and show you exactly when this one sold. This one sold in September 28th of last year, so coming up on a year since that last sale. And when we go back over here to this list, let me move this around just a little bit. When we go back over here to this list, you can see that's the only one that sold in the last year. These others were sales that you're probably familiar with that happened previously. 725, 725, 740, and 755. What happened when we had the 755 price move, which was a pretty substantial move from where we had been in that low 700s, we saw a good bit of them come on the market. As you can see right now, we've got a few that are for sale. This one just came on the market this past like 2 days ago. And this is a first floor unit in building E, so across from you, 103 for $745,000. To be perfectly frank, it's priced really good. I don't expect that one to last long. But we have had this one sitting here, Our E304 at 755, D203 at 764.9, E302 769. That one's been on and off the market for a long time. F302, so right above you at 769, and then F303 again, just right above you and one over at 769 also. And those are the 3-bedroom places that are available. What this is telling us is a couple things. I'm going to give you a general outlook on what we're seeing overall in the market. If we just take the full residential market along Highway 30A, what we've been seeing this year is year over year, we are basically flat. We are about flat on the number of transactions. We're flat on the average price per square foot, and the average price is within $1,000 right now of what it was last year. So we have seen a really, really flat market, and a flattening of our market that was very consistent in its 5.4 to 7% average move up over the last 3 to 4 years. So this is a little bit of a flattening of where we are. We're probably at a place where the market is trying to figure out which direction to go. Whereas we were seeing that steady growth, we've seen it for 8 years now. We may be getting to a place now where we're seeing a little bit of a pullback, and maybe this is just a pause to jump. So this is where we are right now. The good news is probably based on everything with your place, you're probably in the value somewhere between the 745 and 760 right now. I haven't been in there to see if you guys have done anything new, but obviously yours was in extremely good shape back then, and I'm assuming it still is. So we're up roughly $100,000 from when you purchased it. So we're in good shape there, but just kind of wanted to bring it up to speed. Also, I know that you guys had talked about at one time moving up to one of the Gulfront units. And if we're looking at these, now this is a different deal. You're going to see a ton of activity here. If you'll notice, there are 3 of these under contract right now. We've had 2 of these sell this year. And then we've got just a few that are for sale. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these for sale right now. So the market is absorbing these pretty well right now when they come on the market. If you guys are still thinking about that and wanted to kind of get a better feel for that, wanted me to go over and just do a quick video walkthrough or get on FaceTime with you and let you see one virtually, I'd be glad to do that. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. Know I'm here if I can do anything. Love to be your resource down here. And just let me know if there's anything at all. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, so that was pretty good, huh? Right. So I like that one, and it was a little bit different than some of the ones that Jimmy had talked through, because he knew a little bit more about the client, right? He knew that they were thinking about selling, knew they're thinking about upgrading. And so what he didn't do in that one was his little script of, hey, well, let's just see if he does it in this next one. Hang on one sec. So we're going to run through. I see some people jumping on. So let's run through a couple of more of these, and then we will see if these are, we'll see if it's better or worse than what we just watched. So let's go back here. I'm going to share it and take it away, Jimmy.
All right, David, hope you're doing well. It's been a little while, and I know you mentioned that you might want to look. I think your lease is coming up in May, whether you're going to keep renting or possibly sell it. So I want to give you the best information possible, most up-to-date information on what it might bring if you decide to sell the place over at Destin Oaks, and that way you can have a little better idea. So let me kind of go over here to this where I can just kind of share my screen. Let me go up here. A lot has happened just recently. So let me put this back on. A lot has happened just recently, okay? So the last one to sell was one built in 2016, but it did not have the garage. Sold for $355. This was back, it actually closed in January. Now here's what's happened. Since the end of last year into the first of this year, we've seen an enormous move pricing wise. I mean, like possibly not, over in excess of 15-20% of what we've seen leading up to this, 10-15% in most cases. Pretty evident here also. So let me kind of show you. This has all happened recently. So I'm going to use this. These are ones that have garages like yours. This one went pending, $325. So just like a couple weeks ago, $419 ask price. This one went pending this week, $435,000. You can see these are all the same square footage basically as yours. This one went pending, $416 this week. It had a list price of $439.9. You can see they started higher, but they found their spot at $439.9. $429.9 list price on this one. This one went pending about a month ago. So look at these. Now, here's what we've got right now. We've got 4 pending new contracts. The last one to sell sold for $355. That one closed in January. Again, it didn't have the garage, so there's a little bit of difference there. But now we have $419, $435, 429, and 439 that are actually pending. And all of them, if you'll look at this, went on the market. These went under contract in 18 days. This one went under contract the day it hit the market. This one went under contract, let's see here, 7 days on the market, 1 day on the market. So we've got this enormous, now that I don't know whether this has something to do with possibly with all of a sudden the military is beginning to open up transfers again. Maybe it has something to do with a lack of rentals and people are buying these. But we're now looking at this range that has jumped substantially. So let me kind of show you what these numbers, because what I want to do is I want to take this highest number right here, 439.9. When we're seeing these kind of things, without seeing the inside of yours, obviously, depending on what the renters have done, it could be a little higher, maybe even a little, it could be even a little higher because of the finishes, as I remember you did, or a little bit lower, depending on how it's been taken care of by the renters. But let's look at these numbers just to get you an idea. If we're looking at 439.9, I'm gonna give you some net numbers of what you'd be looking at. Doc stamps on the deed, that's standard closing cost for sellers. The commission, reducing it from the normal 6% down to the 5%. Friends and family pricing there, 21,000. So we're talking about total estimated expenses, not including any payoff of mortgage, any proration of taxes, or the homeowners association dues where you would pay for your part through whatever the closing date was. We're looking at about 414, 825.70 on the net. So literally, we're talking about $100,000 above where you were. When I talked to you back a couple months ago when we first talked, we were not in this range. So this is a pretty substantial move pretty quickly. The rental market is continuing to be strong, so I think you've got a good option there as well. But if it's a situation where you're wanting to take some off the table, you'd be sitting here, even if you haven't paid the mortgage down at all and you had 100% financing, you'd be walking away with $100,000 cash. The questions is going to become, if you're going to sell in the future, also what's your tax consequences? Because you've owned this for over 2 years, you'd be paying capital gains on that gain, which right now is at 20%. One of the things, like I just sold a place that was $1.9 million, and they were going to do what we call a 1031 exchange, where they rolled it into another investment property. They couldn't touch any of the money. And their accountant said, you better go ahead and take the 20% and pay that now, because odds are, with the administration we have now, and the tax and the House and the Senate and every situation, we're probably going to see capital gains tax rates go up. So that's something to factor in too, is that if you don't sell it now, you could be looking at tax penalty or a tax that could be higher when you do decide to sell. And if that goes up, just for instance, for 10%, or more, then that would mean the price would have to go up 10% to make net out. So just some things to think about. Listen, if you got questions, just let me know. But you're in a really good position right now. If you decided to put it on the market right now, it's a really good time to do so, because as you can see, the spring season has sprung, where we've seen, literally in the last month, we've seen 4 places go under contract just like yours, substantially higher than what we had as far as the other sales in the previous 6 months. So let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, so different example than the first one. Now, he missed his little whirlwind thing in there, of his little Google Earth thing, but he did have that seller net sheet in there, which I think is kind of cool. He implied that he did that on most of the videos that he did to tell people. And again, I think where people get hung up on that is they don't know what the person owes. So they don't really know the real net, but he's like, hey, here's the net and then you just subtract off what your mortgage is. Even if you had a, 100% mortgage, you're still 100 grand ahead. So think through, how you could do this yourself, or how you could coach a real estate partner through it. And I think what I like about it is there's no perfect way, right? On the previous video, you saw him, he's like, I don't know when this thing sold. Click, click. He's just moving through the computer, talking to him as he's doing the work. I also think if you notice that on the second video, he moved the video to the bottom corner. Now, what he liked about that, he said, then he's looking up at the camera, right? The hardest thing is most people, like if I looked at Zoom, I'm looking at myself right here, but what I need to do is look up at the camera, which is up top there when I'm talking to it, to make sure that I'm actually, having the right conversation. If I was really smart, I would actually move myself over to the middle. I'm not there because I've got the chat open. So I'm kind of sitting off center a little bit, but the whole point is to make sure you're making eye contact. And, so he didn't mind moving the stuff around and talking to him, and it wasn't perfect, and he kept doing it. And I think that's where, again, people get caught up. And so I haven't watched this third one, but I'm going to put it up next. We'll see what the third one did. I'm hoping that this one is, we're going to see. I don't know what I'm hoping. So I'm going to get this back up. I'm going to share this, and then I'll kind of give you guys my thoughts, give us some action plans, and get us back off doing some CMAs and some TCAs. So here we go. Share screen, quick time. It is optimized. I'm going to turn myself off. because you guys don't need to see me. And then we're going to hit play on Jimmy's video here.
Hey, Shelley, it's Jimmy Burgess. Hope you're doing well. And it's getting a little silly down in watercolor right now as far as some of these prices. I don't know if you've seen these yet or not. Wanted to give you an update. Good time as we're coming really out of kind of that time with the pandemic where we're really we've seen an amazing move in the prices just in this last 60 days especially. And I wanted to show this to you just to give you an update on where the value is. Just good place, if nothing else, to have a marker on where your value is if you decide to come back at some point and look at this in the future. So let me kind of start with this. I did a house over on in phase 2 of watercolor in September. The owners asked me to kind of get them an idea of what the value was. It was in that time about $650 a square foot. We just went under contract this week, full price at $980 a square foot on a house that's pretty similar to yours as far as the age. So I kind of want to go through this and really dive into these numbers to show you most of the activity and the big moves have been happening in phase 2 and phase 1 in the last few months. It is about to move over, in my opinion, to phase 3. We don't have a house right now. Well, I'll show you in just a second, but we're looking at right now the lowest priced house in phases 1, 2, and 3 is $2.8 million. So we're in a very interesting position right now as far as the size of your house and everything that you've got over there. So let me go through some of these numbers. I want to just start with the 736 Western Lake Drive. Now this is down there in that camp district that backs up to Seaside. So those lots do typically bring a premium a little bit, but look at this. This thing sold and closed $993 a square foot. And that one actually closed this week on Monday, actually, is when that one closed. This is one that has actually, this was my listing for a past client of mine, 1352 Western Lake Drive. So if you're headed around towards the front, this would be the one right before you get, right after you pass Crossvine Circle coming from your place. So it's right there on the highway. It's smaller. This one's 1,996 square feet. We sold it for $951.90 a square foot, full price. We got on that one also. Now, listen, phase 3, some of these numbers, the sold numbers are lagging a little bit in phase 3 to what we're seeing. You know, both of these closed on Monday. So these are the most recent numbers we've got right here as far as the closings this past week. If you'll notice this is a 3,373 square feet. When I pulled yours up, it was roughly 2,400 square feet. I've got exact numbers I'll show you in just a second. But to get you an idea, typically, you know, this one's a little more square footage. It's sold for $770 a foot. And you can see that one closed about 2 months ago. So it's amazing what's happened in the last 2 months, to be perfectly frank. Blue Jack Street, this is another one. This one closed in January and January 4th. This one sold for $726 a foot. It's just basically right almost diagonal to yours at the end of the street there, right there close by. Also 49 Blue Jack right there by yours also. 700. This one sold for $781 a square foot. $2,450,000, 3,100 square feet. Again, this one closed at the end of the month. To be perfectly frank, this one went under contract a little earlier, and had it gone on the market right now, it would be substantially higher than this as far as a list price right now. Western Lake Drive, another one of those that's back up there in that camp district. As you'll see, these are one that's getting ready to come on the market. $1,029 a square foot is what they're going to be asking for that thing. This is one that is pending. Same place up in that camp district. It did have a pool. $1,025 a square foot on that one as an ask price. It went under contract in literally, as you can see, the day it came on the market, 0 days. This 20 tall timber cord is the one I was talking to you about. This is over there basically in phase 2. And when we're looking at this one, 2,367 square feet. So very similar to yours, except yours has the carriage house. That one doesn't. This one was updated. You know, I haven't seen yours. Don't know if y'all have done anything recently to it, but $980 a square foot. And 14 days later, I had it under contract for full price on that one. Red Cedar Way. This is another one that's pending. You can see this one went pending this week, 4/16. Literally yesterday is when we took it pending. It went pending on Thursday night, but we just got it in there yesterday. As far as this one, $2,000,002. This is 394 Red Cedar Way. So right there, also in phase 2, 2,236 square feet, $983 a foot. This one went under contract about 2 weeks ago. As you can see, April 4th for $983 a foot asking price. This is one actually. There's on Crossvine Circle right there, just before you get to, if you're headed towards the beach club on the left after you pass where you cut through headed back towards Publix. I have the buyer on this one, and it is under contract for, it came on the market at 1965. These buyers paid $50,000 more, under contract for $952. No contingencies on this one, so that one is going to be closing May 7th. So that one's getting ready to close as well. See this pattern though, what we're seeing now? Here's over in phase 3. This one went pending back at the 1st of March. So we've seen another 45 days, and to be pretty frank, we're seeing 2 to 3% moves in the values right just about every month right now. We saw this huge move in this first quarter. So we're looking at this $890 a foot, you know, and that's a bigger one, 3,200 square feet. Also, Lake District over there, again, 2,600 square feet. This one went pending about 2.5 weeks ago for $998 a foot ask price. Last one over there, this one's pending. This one went pending last week, $959 a square foot. So incredible to see what we're seeing, Shelly. I mean, you know, you and I've been doing this long enough to know that these price movements are not sustainable. It would be naive to think that we could see 40% price moves in a relatively short period of time like this and think that they will continue this way. And if they do, then it would be healthy. So just kind of want to give you an update on where you are. Let me kind of show you this. This is kind of the numbers. I put the carriage house heated and squared, and cooled area that was on the tax rolls plus the main house. It came up to 2,406 square feet. I did a couple different numbers here. I wanted to give you the number where I had the one go pending over there that had been remodeled. But again, we're talking about that one was remodeled. Yours, though, has the carriage house, so it could be offsetting. And to be perfectly frank, your location in phase 3 is going to be more desirable than that on tall timber, which is kind of back away from everything. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you at $930 a foot, what would that look like? $2,237,000. If we did it in between where I saw the lower comps, basically with taking 2% moves up in what that last one that was in phase 3 had done, that would put us right in that $955 a foot. That's just south of 2.3. And then at the 980, which is what I was at before, that would put you at $2,357,880. And also, just to get you an idea, I wanted to give you an idea of what this looks like on the net out. Typical sales, you know, expenses or closing costs for the sellers are the doc stamps on the deed, basically the state taxes to sell. Then the broker's commission at the 5%, you know, that lower rate than you'll see in there, that you see in there. Also, estimated expenses. This does not include any mortgage payoff, any prorated taxes, HOA fees. So basically taking that middle number, basically of $955 a foot, minus your expenses, you're looking at a net out roughly of $2,166,759. Now, listen, I will say this. I understand, you know, because we've talked about this before, the family really doesn't want to sell. I don't blame you. Listen, if you don't have to sell and you don't want to sell, that's one thing. If you're considering selling in the next few years, could be a huge opportunity right now with this surge that we're seeing in these prices just literally in the last 90 days, because we know that's not sustainable. And odds are, I'm not saying it's going to happen now, but at some point, what goes up has to pull back at least a little bit or settle in. So we're right now got so much momentum, no other competition. One of the things that we've had, because some people have said that, you know, hey, I don't want to not have a place to be able to come down there for the summers. Well, one of the things that we've seen to hedge this is, I had the people actually over at Tall Timber this past week, what they're doing, because it's moved up so much and like yours has, is they're going out and they're taking $400,000 in their case, and they're basically putting that aside in a family trust that will generate and pay out $20,000 per year. They're anticipating, with having some interest income on that's going to get them 25 years worth of $20,000 going towards any vacation that the family wanted to do. And then they still have basically, you know, another $1.5 million cash, but they protect the fact that they've got that capability. One of the others, there's actually 2 partners on that. One of those said, well, listen, we just really want to blow it out. We're going to do $30,000 a year for multiple vacations, wherever our family wants to go. We're going to go to Europe. We're going to go to wherever they decide they want to go, and they're going to have that taken care of. Plus, they get to take advantage of advantage of these higher prices. So anyway, just going to give you an idea of where everything is. Listen, you got any questions, just let me know. I know this is a wide range, but literally, if you wanted me to, it'd take me 5 minutes to walk through the house, get you an idea of what it would look like. As far as where it would fall on this right now, I mean, I've got 3 that are under contract or closed in the last 30 days. So I got a real good feel for where these values are right now, and very similar size houses to yours. So if you got any questions, just give me a call. Hope you're doing well, and just know I'm here if I can ever do anything for you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. So that was super cool. I'd love your feedback of anything that you thought was amazing on that in the chat. Here's my top takeaways from it. Number one is he didn't do his little whirly thing. So again, maybe 2021, he was in too big of a hurry. You know, he said he wasn't into production, but you can see he's like snooping some sales there. He's showing you what his sales were in that. So, you know, good for him running leadership and doing that as well. Again, he had the net sheet in there. I thought that was really great. I love it. He said, "Oh, diagonal from you," right? He's knows the property. I don't know if anyone sleuthed it, but did you guys notice he had LinkedIn up over there, and then he had Facebook here, and the name on the Facebook was Shelly. And sure enough, it was Shelly that he was sending that video to. So I think he was also looking. He didn't say, "I would have been cool if he said, hey, notice the kids have been playing soccer." But I mean, think about that. He just spent the extra couple of minutes up front. He's just checking in for an opportunity to chat with Shelly about what's going on. And then I also loved on the previous video, he talked about the tax consequences. On this one, he said, well, hey, I know your family wants to come here. So again, he knows what's going on behind the scenes and what their objections are. And he gave them a cool opportunity, like, hey, set aside some money, which is a great. I mean, that's, you know, that to me is a fabulous opportunity to do something really cool for a family. Think about that, sell the house and then let them take a vacation for 20 to 30 grand a year, you know, anywhere they want. Now, I can tell you that doesn't go as far as people would like to think, since I just planned a family vacation for 18 for Thanksgiving. But, you know, it's pretty cool. My family's done something similar to that for that purpose. Whew, that was a lot. All right. So my goal today was to show you those samples of Jimmy's, give you my highlights to what he did, and then really try to encourage you, regardless of whether you're crushing it on the CMAs and TCAs, to kind of give you that encouragement that, hey, today's the day, right? Go out and do it. Wherever you are, it's either afternoon or evening. And so what I would just say is this, right? If you have time today, squeeze one in. If it's 5 o'clock and dinner time where you live, then guess what? Let's do it first thing tomorrow. Let's knock out 2. I think what you're going to find with Jimmy is he didn't overthink it. He literally just pulled it up in MLS. And I think that's where real estate agents kind of get stuck, is wanting to be perfect. And loan officers, you do the same on your CMA. So I would encourage you, whether you're a real estate agent who just watches, or you're a loan officer who needs to bring it to your real estate agent, or you're a loan officer who needs to get your own TCAs and annual mortgage reviews going, use this as a little bit of motivation. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Think about what is you're going to say, who you're going to say it to. In this case, it seems to me that Jimmy, who's a leader, is focused on the people that he thinks have a reason to sell, right? People who aren't there full-time, aren't doing those things. And he knows in and out, because he knows those neighborhoods, that these properties are going up well. He did his research, some of it live on video, and he didn't really complain about the fact that, hey, you know, I'm embarrassed, I'm showing you this, click on this button. No, he just looked it up. Hey, I don't remember the date of that. Let me take a look at it. I would do this little whirly bird Google Earth thing. It's not that difficult. If you just go to Google Earth, it's free. Don't use the fancy version. He confirmed that last week on the call. And then just get busy. So going forward from here, I want you to be aware of a couple of things. I said 2, but maybe it'll be 3. Number one is these calls are going to go mainly on Monday afternoons, and I'll have guests on most of them going forward. But every 3 to 4 weeks, I'll do something like this where I bring in my takeaways. As we go further into this process, I'll have more takeaways, because I'll hear more struggles and more successes from a lot of you. I'm also going to be teaming up with Deborah Bird. Some of you know her. She's just got out of the hospital, so we had to postpone it slightly, but we're going to do some type of accountability too. So if any of you real estate agents or loan officers want to jump on and we can kind of interview you about what you've been doing, that would be great. It would be a separate call, so watch for us to post on that. And then lastly is I will be posting at least once a week in there. How are you doing on your CMAs and TCAs? Do me a favor, humor me, right? Comment on it, how many you did, right? And just for the week, I'm not gonna say where are you at, month to date and all that. I don't want to, I don't want that. I just want you to know every week I want you to win. Every day I want you to win. I want you to start now. I want you to play catch up if you have to. And I want you to stay focused on 60. I think if you can do 60, then you're going to have the results that you want as we go out of 2021 into 2022. It's hard to believe that already. So I'm just grateful for you guys jumping in. My goal was to keep it a little shorter than I did, but that's all right. I wanted to show those videos, and you know me, I like to talk. So if I can be of value to it in any way, let me know. If you have any suggestions for guests for future episodes, let me know. If you're willing to be a guinea pig with Deborah and I on our accountability call, let me know. I appreciate all of you. I look forward to talking to you next week on our next call. Have a good one.